Hello, everyone. Today we are speaking about Cardano DAO, Project Catalyst, and I'm speaking with Tevo Saks. Uh, Tevo correct me if I'm wrong, you are in Project Catalyst since Fund1 or maybe earlier, but I really remember you from the first days as I'm also from Fund1, and a lot of people kind of disappeared from Project Catalyst. Some people disappeared, but you are really the veteran of Project Catalyst, and it would be interesting to speak how the Project Catalyst evolved in this time. And as I remember, like many people, or maybe most of the active participants, you were in different roles: proposer, and the winner of several proposals, then community advisor, proposal assessor, the one who's writing reviews and analyzing, veteran community advisor, the one who's analyzing the reviews, and also maybe direp in the future. Uh,
Yeah, we'll try. Actually, I've been participant in that too, and we'll see where that goes. And was part of Circle 2, where although the recent evolvements are like a bit blurry for me.
Yeah, so let's start with you said you have a presentation and some data of how the Project Catalyst evolved, and let's see.
Yeah, when you last time asked, hey, do you want to talk about how Fund1 to Fund10 goes? Then immediately I was like, where do we even get Fund1 information? So fortunately, back then we started also using Miro board at some point, and then I started taking notes. So we'll share screen, and let me know if you can see it. And does it show everything? Because if I look at the screen, I see only half of the information. So do you see something?
Yeah, I see it now. I'm just figuring out there are in Restream there are several ways to present it.
I see.
This shows.
Okay, so this seems to be the finest. Okay, so what did I write here? Visualizing the proposal process in time and funds. So there could be mistakes from the exact times because taking it from memory. So basically, I guess Fund1, 2, and 3 were more like taken as a retrospective thought since, I don't know, Fund4 or Fund5 when we did this visualization. And what was interesting back then in the Fund1, we didn't have the assessor stage, but Fund2, we already had an assessing proposal stage, but we didn't have assessing assessor. So it's like quite quickly started like into process. Okay, we need assessors, and then we need assessor of assessors. Time started to also expand on like when do you get rewards, like 2 months, then 2 months plus months. Looks like a Fund5, it was like every 2 weeks there is 1 month to schedule, so it still got better at some point. And in order to go like further, then my data is like in a different format because I stopped kind of looking at it in this kind of structural sense. But yeah, if somebody has an interest or you want these links, I can share, because everything we have collecting with Swarm and Catalyst School or anybody is public data. And then you can make your own kind of assumptions of what happened, what was changed, and even improve that if you feel the need. And yeah, and from Fund6 onwards, I guess actually around that time I started taking a bit more a look of designing Catalyst innovation funds in general. And then there was this discussion about the community advisor, and this changed into proposal assessors. We had a cool discussion with the Catalyst team, Marek, to talk about how he kind of processes all these scripts he needs to run in order to change stages to stages. And then in community, we tried to kind of create this connection line between different roles, like if orange ones are like challenge team, community advisors, proposals. When they come at what stage, like stages are these green ones, insight sharing, proposal draft submission, proposal refinement, proposal finalization, proposal assessment, assessment review. Although now it's changed again, so I haven't updated the latest version, the Fund10 one. But yeah, like kind of collected and try to make sense what information you needed and how these roles that emerge, where could they help in each of these stages, and could they help any other role with their information input, or do they get outputs from another, and kind of looking at in this design perspective. And that's basically kind of my journey in the Catalyst, where I try to look at it from a system perspective and see how do we then kind of make it able to collaborate most effectively, and look at it like activities we could do or assets we could create within our community. And that's how this now also the proposals I'm related with these are like this data collecting and activities collecting and workshopping stuff out. And yeah, any questions about design stuff? I also got some Catalyst circle stuff open, but that's another thing in the involvement.
Yeah, that's interesting presentation. And actually, what I wanted to ask about this role of proposal assessor, community advisor, because the name changed several times, and maybe it will change again. From the interesting that you mentioned in the first fund, there was no such role, and during all these years, and I remember I mentioned it before and said that I think that in general this role is not necessary. We can just skip and avoid it, because this flows huge amount of money from the treasury. And well, I also was in this role and earned some funds as few times as proposal advisor, community advisor. So I wrote reviews, then also as a moderator, like veteran community advisor. Now these roles they changed, so now there are three levels. It might change next fund. So there is a big financial incentive for everyone, and that's actually from one point that's good because it incentivizes people to participate. This is something what everyone can do. Not everyone has time, not everyone has maybe the desire to write, because in order to write a good review you need to spend sometimes hours analyzing this proposal. And if you write just something not very detailed, your review can be filtered out. So that's not for everyone, but this is something what everyone can do, because there are different categories and there are many non-technical categories, and that's good in terms of spreading ADA for the more like general audience, because it's very hard to get to win proposal. It's also from my experience very hard to join some existing team which is working, uh, and but to be community advisor it's easy way. But also I think, and this my opinion, it stayed for years, then we could just either reform it, but to reform it it's also it takes like time. I don't see possibilities right now. Just skip the review process at all. Maybe DREPs, the new notion, maybe they can do some reviews or notes and they could vote. And as for me, the biggest review and what really matters is voters. What's your opinion? One more point on this, because for me it looks like who are these people writing these reviews? Yes, they might be, maybe we are one of them, but in general, and that's including me, the reviewers are not professionals, not like top professionals. They do not have like the top expertise. This I can say also about myself. I study blockchain for 5-6 years, but the more I learn, the more I understand that I have big gaps in certain areas. And especially in some complex infrastructure topics, the people, they maybe just lack the real expertise. And this a matter of luck, matter of maybe some other factors, like simple factors. The longer is proposal, the more detailed it is, the more probability then it will have good reviews. And of course, brand matters. If the team is already successful in the unknown, they will get good review. What's your position on this role or these like two roles? And this section is actually the big period of Project Catalyst.
Yeah, I would say that I think it's a good thing that it's existing, and the rewards kind of went a bit too much, and I feel like the reviewers weren't too strict. Really, the people didn't really put effort into auditing and cross comparing and finding the collective decision what is the best thing to filter out. And then these like groups of people just emerged that didn't really take that seriously, this role of veteran assessor, and then the quality of this, what went in and what went out and who got rewarded, got so skewed that people started feeling like now we should reduce the rewards. So now we have less rewards, and in that section, and an easier way to kind of be more acceptable. What is like acceptable in that review stage. But then now it still it was dangerous, I think, because it created this negative effect afterwards when people started reviewing proposals, and then this time to kind of share what you have wrote. There was so many of these negative reviews that it kind of were focused in some reason, and especially like I guess Twitter, or where like slangs or this, he said that, or he said like this, like showing. So yeah, I feel like I would prefer more kind of controlled, more statistical view on that. And but now looking at the current system, for example, I didn't do any reviews, even though I did spend several times looking at what it is to create, but it felt not incentivized enough. And compared to my previous like activities, what I have done, and still starting from zero level, kind of pushed me back. Like, is this not recognized what I have done so far? And then yeah, so it didn't feel like I felt like starting over. And then if I did proposal reviews, I still ended up doing it outside the idea scale, because like you said, it takes hours to do the review. And when I wrote like an entire document, I'm not really looking at like these specific questions, what the idea scale is promoting, and like metricizing it, but more like, hey, this is how could you improve your title, and this is the problem statement. There are more options to kind of discover like these aspects. And like, and when talking about like project management or like experiences I have had writing the proposals and what are expected outcomes for Catalyst to kind of agree, yes, this is the right thing, then I have a bit more experience to kind of describe the like action items, what to write in the proposal. And all of this kind of takes time when I really put my mind into it. Like I sit down, I read proposal like 30 to 60 minutes several times, and then I start like writing stuff, and then I cross-check, am I making sense, and then I get my review ready. But this is totally different work compared to if I would do it like B2B, or actually making like rewards out of it. And I don't want to spend the overhead time to now fit it into the idea scale. Like, the person who I'm helping, he gets a lot of value out of it. So that's the end goal. And the system in Innovation Fund doesn't really help with that. Although comparing when I would put myself time back in like Fund 2 or 3, where I had no clue about proposals and you're learning at the same pace and at the same time, then I guess it is, I guess, simpler and easier now to kind of get on board and get this stuff done. But yeah, for me, I feel like I'm grown out of this, and I would want something more controlled, more like data oriented, and a bit more reputational system.
Maybe you mentioned that you did few reviews this Fund10, yes?
I did a few reviews, but not in the IDS scale. So like I created the Google Doc or write the big paragraphs in Discord channel. Depends on who is talking to me.
Yeah, but you mean you posted them into IDS scale or you didn't?
I didn't.
Then it's by the system it's not recognized as review.
Yeah, and that wasn't the point, because the time, considering if now people use the service of what we offer, and we see
Maybe it wasn't the point that because since you are for a long time in Project Catalyst, you have so much ADA, so you don't care about just few reviews. You don't need more. Also about reviews, I think that's what the financial incentives why they fall, because the price of ADA also fell. It's now below 30 cents, and but we remember the times when it was $3, so like 10 times. And
I mean, another point where I would say is this psychological effect that, okay, now look at this data value and how much value you can give to the program using that incentive model. So I would assume at some point you could actually learn to kind of go through these proposals quickly, like skim for information, and then in 10 or 15 minutes, respond all of these questions and give a metric. So you kind of systemize that we get good, like analytical data to compare different proposals and group them. And then, but yeah, I still think this should be like separated, that the review, like actual review of proposal in the last stage, where it's already likelihood that it's getting funded and it has passed some kind of basic metrics or these impacts, or is recognized by lot of peers, and then it goes to this review stage. Not like every single proposal goes into that. It's just spending too much catalyst funds.
yeah, I also think that there might be some position or a group of people who work kind of full time for Catalyst and who are doing these reviews.
Yeah, I actually haven't looked system improvements, catalyst like challenge setting, but my assumption was that hey, somebody is probably going to make like a body who is doing reviews for Catalyst, and it's asking extra awards, but he has a system to go through these and has a dashboard or maybe some tooling stuff. So I thought this is coming. If not this fund, then perhaps the next fund, because this is probably going to continue, and it is a system improvement. So I'm very happy about that challenge setting.
Yeah, so for example, having the people like you who are very experienced and did many reviews, and they kind of have the understanding what ecosystem needs, or maybe even not this understanding, but they might be kind of filter to filter out really not good proposals, because there were even in some times some spam proposals or just proposals which lacked data. And maybe, for example, in certain categories, some people who are knowledgeable in that particular areas, like for example in development, in or if this category we had some regional categories like grow Africa, grow Latin America, then of course people from those communities could be these assessors.
I would actually disagree with that filtering out something. Well, it depends what you mean from where. For example, I would be still willing to put any proposal on the fund, like voting. Then we can see if the like ADA value is being manipulated or not. But just not, but filter out in situations like who is going to review, for example, a proposal, again, and use as much like AI tooling or some kind of collective understanding. Hey, this is the standard we want to follow. Until he has that standard and the systems are mechanized enough to kind of recognize that, then it passes to the next stage, and now people are going to spend their time. So yeah, just differentiating the human time spent on a proposal versus the mechanic time.
Yeah, but when if the proposal is done and posted according to the standards, then it's ready for voters to vote, because voters might. Well, that's all about this idea about governance. So the voters might decide the either holders or in the future maybe DREPs, because when there is more than 1,000 proposals, it's even hard for many people to read the titles. Imagine reading 1,000 titles and even vote judging by the title. But to do a good vote, you need to read at least few minutes, or maybe even more, to read, to access, visit other links, external links, checking the teams, and that's really hard. It's just time consuming. It's not hard, and
Yeah, I
you
think it's
are
another full-time job for DREPs. Basically, having our network of people who provide you with your truth, in a sense, like that you are agreeing with, and then using that information along with actually reading the proposal yourself. You, and it should start already when people are proposing. So because you still have months and months to decide what proposals go in, and so it is quite a feasible activity to actually go through thousands of proposals. But yeah, this is
Yeah, actually, to make to decide on vote, you don't need the DREPs. They do not need to wait for reviews. They can already make their decision. I don't know, to do a spreadsheet and then be ready in the voting period. So do not necessarily wait for the voting period. By the way, right now we are voting period will start August 31st. So in a week or so, those who registered can vote. Those who didn't, the snapshot date was already done. So then in the next fund, they will be able to vote. So do you vote personally, and approximately how many proposals do you vote for?
Yes, I do. At the earlier stages, I think up to Fund 3 or 4, I voted for every proposal. And then I started very systematically actually doing that, even like calculating, okay, if I vote for these proposals and it goes over budget, I'm not going to vote for any of these. And so, and then I think Fund 2 or somewhere, I was even playing around that I'm not allowed to abstain. So what decisions I will do then? But that kind of, as soon as I started seeing people talking about don't give negative votes with no reason, then I felt like, okay, I'm not going to experiment with that onwards. So, yeah, I've been voting all the time, and recently a bit less, because they don't do this mass option of voting. So and it's always funky, like, okay, vote, yes, back, yes, 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 okay, yes, yes, because I have a list in different tool. We have now Light Nation, or I use this AIM tool to kind of bundle this stuff together. And I think last fund, yeah, I made a huge TREP Excel for myself, where I categorize different network proposals and who we are partners with related to Swarm, and like different groups. And then going through these hundreds of stuff like one by one was quite annoying, even though I did have filtering list, and I filtered everything on Excel the same way as in app. But it's like, who does that? It's like operation is so extensive to put tooling to just vote effective on as many things as possible.
So right now there are some tools which can make the voting process easier, because I thought that the only one is that you need to go to the Catalyst voting app. It's a mobile app. Then before to register, you need to kind of connect it to your account. then there is snapshot date, and then you vote from this app. But is there some way to vote otherwise?
Yeah, I'm not aware of that, and I'm not aware you can't even import anything to the app, so it's like one by one. I hope a feature to mass vote in the application itself, or yeah, probably in Fund after, or once this PREP stuff is kind of accomplished by IOG, then we most likely see an option for other community members to create like tooling to cast the ballot into the app itself, because in the end we're kind of doing it on sidechain, which just follows a specific standard, and if now with IOG has the experience on like decoupling catalyst information and creating this automation between Jormungandr and their server stacks. Probably they have now experience to kind of extend it to community, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, I haven't taken the Pulder like stats and just been looking at the town hall videos or after town hall videos to kind of catch up with that side of the development.
So you are part of this Swarm organization, yes?
Yes.
Yes. It's kind of for me. It seems that that's an organization which captured out the big influence in Catalyst and a big amount of resources. And is it, for example, for the new people, is it easy to join it or not? Because I don't know. Once I tried, there was some gigs on the work side. I tried to do some smaller things just to test, like not in order to earn. There was some price, one ADA or some tokens, but nobody sent anything. It's just what are the main goals of the swarm, and tell more about this.
Yeah, well, with Swarm, we from the beginning we have kind of also tried to kind of enhance this collaborative environment where we basically create spaces where people can share their thoughts, their ideas, and then pull these kind of connections who like just working groups or like well, all the working groups are the new thing, but in the end, I feel like it's always been the same thing. We just call things differently now. We're more kind of knowledgeable what's happening. Yeah, regarding Swarm rewards, I think the last funds went out like this year's February, and previously, and this was only to continue the Singularity Net collaboration and treasury building. So we didn't have too much like bounties stuff going forward. And yeah, now we mainly moved into the Singularity Net space, although Swarm is kind of everywhere in the sense that this is a network of individuals who kind of learn to facilitate and run these spaces where people feel safe and can talk about how to improve communities or platforms or whatever they're working on. Yeah, I'm actually not even aware how many Swarm proposals we have this fund. I did notice Town Hall was put up again, and probably for example, Innovation Fund research and mini proposal is related to kind of Swarm brand because I talk to all the same people. How to connect to Swarm is, this is a community people. So you join a Discord, you share what you do, and basically join similar events where we're going. So it's like you have to meet the people, and it's not really just only available in Discord. And if you didn't receive rewards, this means you didn't give us your Cardano wallet address because all of our stuff is like on that public blockchain, and we need the Discord name which you are related to and to the wallet address, and then we are able to kind of share rewards. We also include Kimball, so we now have like a cross-network information like through a lot of projectors in either Singularity Net or Catalyst. We have like a standard of how we collected task names and how much time we spent on that, how much value we spent on that. And now when we still haven't made like a perfect dashboard, but we are able to visualize and understand like what we're able to do with this, like for onboarding and even further like project planning. So in order to facilitate this or do these kinds of activities, you can extract the information and put proposal plans with it. And it's nice to kind of show people, hey, this is what we have done in 1 month. These are the assets. These are where our time is spent. And then use that information to collectively think about, okay, let's do these activities now, or let's spin up more projects in this area. And when you have like consistent treasury coming in, then it's like more easier to kind of manage it. And it's like a distribution system that is pulled through Treasury Guild and also Swarm members to build that. So I kind of went all different stuff, but you know.
I see the problem in Catalyst is that the fund, it goes a really long time and very slow. For example, for new people who want to do something in Cardano, it's really not so easy because they need to wait for a long time. Yeah, maybe there are some bounties. I tested that bounty and I provided wallet and this. And there are some other incentives. Actually, from Cardano Foundation, this ambassador program, it was in the past not very good. And once I contacted, like did small experiment, and I contacted many projects who were the winners from one of the funds. Some I contacted asking if they need any help. Others I contacted for the interviews, and the interviews, they are of course free, so I don't charge or I don't ask Ada. And only few responded. So even the response rate was really slow. And the process is that this year we have only one Fund10. Maybe we'll have Fund11. We'll see. I think the date is not announced yet. And the whole process is really slow, that you need to come submit proposal, then wait, promote proposal, of course, and then it's a really long time from the beginning of idea and funding. I just see this is as a problem. But now in the current market situation, when a lot of other crypto projects are having even harder times, some they cut their employees, cut the development. This looks not so bad. That still in other blockchains the opportunities for funding decreased. In Cardano we still have Project Catalyst. But what you think about this? The structure of the fund, Project Catalyst. Might there be a reason how it could be faster?
Yeah, I think in Catalyst Circle 1 and already starting from 2, there was this idea of rapid funding, which was misunderstood by people and then even discontinued. And there was also a proposal that was helping, like giving bounties out of helping to create like guides and educational content for Catalyst, and then rewarding it on the same week as this work was done. And I feel like all of that could have been pulled so much bigger and make this system more like fluid in these situations. But yeah, because they are like tranched in these long cycles, and you can start planning an idea next fund. So you start now, and then you have to kind of wait for that, and then IOG makes changes, and then it doesn't fit, and then it's like it's a bit annoying. However, it does get its work done. I would say, like we see continuously improvements, but it requires like this extra effort to kind of stay in that cycle and not get tired in a sense, and for the waiting and between doing stuff. So
For example,
I would happily see like more frequent rewarding, or even like allocating some portion of rewards out of the catalyst funding cycle and like frequently spend that as people report assets or activities they do.
Yeah, I see as one of the option if this new position of DREPs will emerge, then DREPs would be the people whom others trust their vote, actually. So it means that if you already have certain, there will be some number threshold, but if you pass it, that means that you have a confidence. Then maybe DREPs. Last time when I read it was idea to make 100 DREPs or up to 100. Then maybe they can have some well, not huge, but some allocations which they can spend for, well, for Cardano related work, and then of course report about it. Because even if you compare this DREPs as members of parliament, so in most of the parliaments there is, apart from the salary, a separate reward as which covers expenses like travel costs or work in the districts, work in communities. So that's the analogy. Or there might be another kind of body like the circle or something like this.
Yeah. Speaking of circle, technically they had that opportunity, this fund, to do these kinds of things, reward people. Hey, we need an article on this, $200. Can somebody pick it up? But it's something happened in that communication between those who are in circle and those who have the knowledge of how this thing could run, and that it kind of, I don't know, didn't happen, even though many attempts were tried. So yeah, but governance in Catalyst is a bit as it is.
Yes, I'm planning to do a series of interviews and conversations on the governance topic. And actually, I have even a proposal regarding DREP interviews, which I will continue anyway, even if it's not winning, because I'm doing content when I have time. And speaking about this, the next fund, do you know, or if there are some data when it will start? Because we see now, and even people who are watching us, that we are speaking, but we are not. They, if they are not from Cardano community, how can they join? They can actually go to projectcatalyst.io and read. They can create a profile on ideal scale, because they will need it to submit proposal. They can read other proposals. They can comment. They can watch the town halls. But when to prepare to take part? When will be Fund 11? Do you have some information?
I have no information on next Catalyst stuff, and I'm even not going to stay on pulse if on these stuff, because now I'm just going as a flow. I'm just doing stuff, and these things just happen as an opportunity. But in order to stay a part of this kind of culture of proposing and getting funded and building for community, I would already start your proposal. If you like, who I have an idea and I want to bring it to the next fund, there are a bunch of like guides how to write proposals, and you don't really have to focus on which challenge to kind of do it, but simply go through all the steps, make a project plan for the idea you want to have, and once we know the categories or the challenge settings that come, you have much easier time to kind of shake it down to what is actually needed. And if it's not needed, then you find your idea in the correct place. And maybe the catalyst is not the place for you. But having that written format and understanding kind of what you're proposing is going to do a lot of favors for you.
So what would you say? Do you visit town halls every Wednesday, and did it help your
Yeah,
successful?
since Fund 9, I think I I also changed my schedule because the capacity to be on a lot of meetings and be with family has like skyrocketed out of proportion since last year, or like basically, yeah, somewhere at the last year end. And now I've been more scheduling time back of where to take hours away, so I can either start something new or take some break. And yeah, these town hall times are now usually where I take a break. So I'm rarely visited, only if I'm planning to do something there, or I'm specifically invited to be on after town hall. Then I have only been in these sessions, but yeah, day later I usually watch the video recording on YouTube and go through the content to see if something new is needed. And I know, fortunately or unfortunately, I am able to skip a lot because I kind of know the projects either that are described, or I know the process that is being described if it's not new, and then it makes sometimes these videos faster too.
Yeah, after each town hall, there are also sometimes Zoom groups, and sometimes there might be interesting topic. What I want to say that it's might be a good way to meet some other people who are doing something in Cardano ecosystem, or maybe who are planning to do something.
And that is called swarming, joining and meeting people in different countries.
Yeah, but here also in a way, Swarm kind of they came and said that we'll do after town hall, which is actually not hard to do, and we are going to take a budget for this. So there was like no alternative that who will do the
Oh, there has always been an alternative. There are a bunch of other after town halls, or like town halls that are created. And we also, long time ago, looked for more facilitators, different people who want to take the position. But for months, even after pushing this to the different newsletters and avenues, we didn't find actually interest to do that. So yeah, we will try again if there is more interest now, as it's getting to the promotional stage of. So, and I think still these bounties to run and share and kind of to create the breakout rooms or like facilitate them is open. So we have technologically helped to put the infrastructure to collect all of that information to who wants to create breakout rooms. So you don't have to worry about that and simply be the host of these breakout rooms, and you get the data from the past experience.
sometimes in these breakout rooms there are really interesting conversation, and that's the way to meet people in Cardano ecosystem, and maybe cooperate on other proposals. So also interesting to ask, so you are working this time only in Cardano ecosystem, or you have some other job or some other work, or is this only Cardano?
Yeah, mainly I'm still on Cardano, and most of my time spent is there. Although where I kind of when I quit my P2P life, then I did keep the connections, and every now and then I do some odd contract to kind of help along with who helped me at the beginning. And I still see like this P2P industry to kind of connect with this community industry at some point. And I know right now it's a huge learning stage and building stage, and I think it's going great for now. So I'm not really worried too much of what's going on. I'm just keep going and exploring the decentralized project management.
Yeah, I see. And so the last question would be: was there something in Catalyst you regret for example, some idea which was not supported, or some small aspect which was changed during all this Catalyst life?
Yeah, I think the main pain point is just the unrecognition of communities work that is already being done and is being offered, and the distrust of kind of sharing what's going to happen in IoG or in Catalyst in general before the changes are implemented to the community, and make it like a more collaborative option to design the system. Even though it's described that we are always going forward at it, and this is what we're building for, but the activities are like always not really up to expectations, I would say. So yeah, that's been like the main driver that has pushed people away from this ecosystem and find different areas where to contribute. But we are all people, so I assume there was always a reason why something was not able to do, and there was again behind this capacity issue, and just this was a small team and a lot of people from all sides of networks. Who to trust the most is like, it is a hard question. So maybe they didn't take a decision, and that was just like to communicate with the, I don't know, teams or groups, and then that just led to this different outcome. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for interesting conversation. You can send me links to your proposals in this fund, because you have, yes, proposals in this fund.
Yep, I have a link. Do you want me to send these Marburg links to? I use to the.
Yeah, you can send them to me in Discord, and I will add them below the video. And
By the way, I checked the crypto text is in our like data collection, but we don't have your wallet address.
but I remember I left it somewhere. But anyway, just like why I mentioned it, because for me it's important that new people would have like easy to way, because I have thanks to drip drops, which I did, I have a lot of Cardano tokens, which that's who doesn't know, that's the service where you can collect Cardano tokens, which are distributed and pay small fee in ADA. Yeah, you can send them to me by email or by Discord, and I will leave the links to proposals below this video. And good luck with this, and see you someday in the next Catalyst funds. Okay, goodbye.
All right.